Heads up people, this is Christy from 52hider 3D, and the Blender community has been in a bit of an uproar over the last couple of weeks due to Andrew Price's proposals about changing the UI, and amongst all that, Blender 2.69 has got a bit lost. So let's have a look at 2.69 and see what it can do and why you should want to download it. So having a look at the notes here, you can see I'm using the release candidate because at this time of recording the official release hasn't come out yet, but there should be no changes from the second release candidate really. And I have a nice list of things I'm going to talk to you about. So of course, first thing is new splash image from a film made with Blender. They're getting weirder and weirder, the splash images. This one is particularly weird. Anyway, hope you like that. So let's open up my file here. So some of the probably hardest to find things are the new improvements to the mesh tools. So there's a few improvements to things like the edge loop joining, what's it called, tool? The bridge tool, that's it. And just improvements that probably people that don't use it all the time won't notice. But one new tool that I managed to find is this tool called Bisect, and to be honest I'm not quite sure what it does. It seems to work pretty much like the knife tool, except that it only works in straight lines like that. Anyway, it's kind of cool. So that's about it for modelling, I think. Yeah, there's some more fiddly stuff. You can check the release notes. Lots of changes have happened to cycles, and we have the new hair shader. I don't do any hair shading at all, so I have no idea what this does. But we have a few other cool nodes as well. We have the vector transform node, which seems to well, does what it says on the tin. It transforms vectors, so it will convert from camera object to world space to camera object to world space, and will change normals and point values and all sorts of cool stuff. So that's going to be useful. And there's also a separate and combine hue, saturation and whatever V is, which will be useful for people who use HSV, and I'm not one of those people. Another really useful thing will be this, if you can see in the material slot list, you can now expand it and search for things in it, which is going to be very useful for well, it's not particularly useful for the material panel, but if we go to the vertex groups panel, you can see it also works there. And I know people who do rigging have hundreds and hundreds of vertex groups, and it's very hard to keep track of them in a box that size. So again, you can also search and sort them by alphabetical order. What other things have we got? Let me have a quick look. Ah yes, a couple of changes to subsurface scattering. It now supports normal mapping and what was the other thing? Blurred textures, whatever they are. But it says it now supports normal mapping and blurred textures. Sampling. The non-progressive integrator and I don't understand what that means, is now called the branched path integrator, and I don't understand what that means, but the bit I do understand is that it can now be used with GPU rendering, which is useful, and the sampling panel has been a bit updated, so ooh, that's cool. Sampling presets, didn't see that. Well, that's cool as well. Preview, final, yeah, that's very cool. So that looks like you can just flip between different numbers of samples, and you can also change the from path tracing to branched path tracing, which I assume is the same thing as that little progressive box. And it also tells us total number of samples, whatever that means. All very cool. What else have we got? Ah yes, planar tracking. Now this is something, it's quite hard to demonstrate, but I've been looking forward to this ever since it was announced from the Google Summer of Code. And if you've done tracking, you'll know it's a right pain and very hard to do. And this allows simple tracks to be done a lot more easily. So if you have a poster on a wall that you want to change, and you change the poster, you have a new way of creating a plane track, which basically sticks a box onto a surface, or it can track a surface. And then if you go into the node editor, you have the new node. I'll have to check use nodes. The what's it called? Plane track deform, which will deform an image based on the plane track. I'll put a link to a video that explains a bit more about it, or if you can wait a couple of months, I'm planning on doing a whole series on tracking on this channel in the new year sometime. And last but not least, possibly my favourite, favourite after the planar tracking feature for this update is we can now import FBX files. So if you've been using game engines that you need to export an FBX file to, and then you want to go back and edit that FBX, you can now import those files, which is really useful. So all in all, a very useful release. Nothing major, but just lots of little usability things and improvements. Also 270 bugs have been fixed this update, so well done to the bug fixers. And yeah, so I hope you found this useful. Don't forget you can like me on Facebook. Right. Start again. Don't forget you can like me on Facebook. You can follow me on Google+. You can... what else can you do? You can, of course, like and comment on this video, and if you can't be bothered to go over to Google+ or Facebook, you can just click the big red subscribe button and never miss another video. Okay, so that's me signing off. See you next time.